Welcome to Canfield and Company, a show about people, events, and places. On today's show, we'll talk about Oregon's minimum wage increase. Does it help or hurt Oregon's workers? Also on today's show, if you live in Troutdale, how has the Stark Street road closure affected you? Why the short notifications? And now we're having long hassles. Coming up next on Canfield and Company. Hi, welcome to Canfield and Company. I'm your host, Rob Canfield. With me today in the studio is my co-host, Tana Canfield. Thanks for coming on the show, Tana.
Well, good afternoon, Rob. Thank you for having me back.
Anytime. And in our Studio B control room, home of the control room, we have our director, Frank Martin. Hey, Frank, how's your day going so far?
Oh, just fine.
So I was just wondering, is our mascot, the monster, in the control room with you today?
Oh, I don't know. Let me check.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, there he is.
And there we go.
That's our mascot. He gets loose sometimes, folks. We can't control him. What can I say? So we have a couple of, we'll actually have 3 stories today we're going to talk about. First one, right here. Minimum wage, maximum hike. The Oregon legislature, in its wisdom, the minimum wage will jump $1.50 to $11.25 in Portland's urban growth boundary, which of course is Multnomah County, Washington County, and Clackamas County, thanks to the 2016 legislation that tied the annual increases to geography.
That will help the economy.
Well, it's funny you should mention that, Tana.
Why is that, Rob?
Because the study recently came out from a team of economists at the University of Washington. They talked about Seattle's minimum wage increase. In January 2016, Seattle's minimum wage jumped from $11 an hour to $13 for large employer, and this was the second increase in less than a year up there. But new research issued just this week by a team of economists from the University of Washington, they're suggesting that the wage hike may have actually come at a significant cost. The increase led to steep declines in employment for low-wage workers, and I don't think there's any surprise there for those of us who are plugged into reality. But it also caused a drop in hours for those who kept their jobs. Now, and crucially, this study said the negative impact of lost jobs and hours more than offset the benefits of higher wages. So on average, the low-wage workers earned about $125 a month less because of the higher wage, and this is a significant decline. Frank Martin, director, do you think the Democrats are in denial about this, or do they really believe that things will get better?
They're in denial. I mean, basically that legislation is saying that people in Multnomah County area and Clackamas and Washington are worth more than people in Salem, are worth even more than the people in rural Oregon. And they're thinking it's gonna result in economic output, but the simple fact of it is the businesses are not making the profits to cover this. So I still say they're in denial even without the Seattle report.
What do you think, Tana? Are the Democrats in Salem and Washington, are they in denial, or will things get better with the higher the wages go?
There's definitely going to be a direct impact on the economy. So I believe that people will show some energy and enthusiasm in getting out there and spending money. You know, restaurants have taken a really big hit, and tips probably have gone down for anybody in the tipping industry, waitresses, hairdressers, and the like. So I believe that will be a positive outcome with a higher wage, and people may want to buy more, you know, and I hope that people go and spend money in grocery stores and shops. I mean, the way that everything is going, this online shopping seems to be a growing trend. So I'm not sure what the hit's going to be on the outside.
I think the biggest hit long term, especially for minimum wage workers, for instance, in fast food industries, is going to be a loss of their jobs. I think recent reports that McDonald's reported they're going to be putting self-bake kiosks in tens of thousands of
That
their
will
restaurants across the country. So the minimum wage hike, in essence, is actually going to eliminate a lot of so-called minimum wage jobs across the country. This, I believe, is where the Democrats and those on the progressive side of the House, God bless them, I love you progressives, is that you think that will help people get a living wage and be able to afford more things like rent, food, groceries, but in actuality, people at the bottom end of the minimum wage scale, for instance, fast food workers, they're going to actually lose their jobs. And this has happened already in Oregon, it's happening in Washington, and it's happened in San Francisco. Hundreds and hundreds of restaurants in San Francisco have closed. This is a natural consequence of economics. You add $1 to an hour for wages for you have 10, 20, 30 employees. It's a competitive world out there in the restaurant business. And if you raise prices, you can lose your market share.
True.
You end up to the point where your margins are so thin, it's not even worth going into business. What's your reaction to the study from the University of Washington, Frank?
My reaction is exactly what I thought was going to happen when they talked about doing this. But, Ken brings up a good point. Think about it. Yeah, well, they can spend more money, but that's assuming the Democrats don't raise taxes like they're turned around trying to do all the time. So,
True.
I mean, if they raise the taxes, where's the benefit?
That's very, very true, Frank. And already, I know when I look at my payroll stub and Rob looks at his, where is the money going? I really don't have that extra income to go shopping like I'd like to. Same thing with you. We'd like to go on vacation. That might be fun.
Yeah, well,
right?
the sad part of the sad fact of the matter is that jobs will be lost. It will encourage employers to move to automation faster.
Well,
And
they're
I've
already
talked to
doing
a lot of people on the progressive side of the house, some of my friends saying, well, those dirty, evil, profiteering manufacturers or employers, they were just going to do it anyway. So they're actually talking out of both sides of their mouth. They're saying, oh, the employers are going to go to automation anyway. At the same time, they're saying, oh, well, this will create more jobs and help the people get a better living wage. They're talking out of both sides of their mouth. I don't think they're rooted in reality. I wish that the progressive that are making these changes in the legislatures across the country could talk to business people and look at their bottom line.
Can I interject on
You
something
bet.
on that point? I was employed by an embroidery outfit over in Beaverton. I mean, it was not a lot of hours, but I mean, I was working for them. I was actually enjoying the work, and I was being paid. I started off at $9.45, the minimum wage, and it went up to $9.85 by the time I was done. But then the Oregon legislature talked about raising the minimum wage and mandating health insurance. So
Right.
suddenly, my employer, who was a small business who was doing work off, most of the orders came from online. They had to let me go because they could not afford the cost of me being employed with their small business. And I don't think the progressives get it through their head that there's a cost when they just arbitrarily do this.
That's true.
I think you're absolutely right, Frank. This is what I think with a bunch of progressive ideas is it makes them feel good like they're doing something, but often on things like this, what actually happens accomplishes nothing but actually has a negative effect. But it makes them feel good to think, oh, we're going to help folks get more living wage jobs. And the other side of this is only affecting in Oregon, according to this article. This article is only going to affect about 11% of workers
And what
in the
happens?
state of Oregon.
Excuse me. What happens though when you're above it, and everyone's getting a raise and you're not? So what happens to those of us who are already above the minimum wage? Will we see an increase? I hope so.
What I'm seeing is a lot of places they're talking about the big push was for $15 an hour across the country.
Oh, yeah.
The progressive groups across the country are lobbying for $15 an hour. That was their mantra
Good
over
luck
the
with
last
that.
summer. But you have to ask yourself, you have an EMT technician, emergency medical technician, getting paid around $15 an hour. Are you folks really telling me that someone flipping burgers at a McDonald's,
It's worth this.
relatively unskilled, is worth paying as much as an EMT who has gone through several months, if not years, of
No.
schooling and has experience? I mean, this is the market economy. Is what you are worth is decided by the market, not some progressive in Oregon or progressive in Seattle or progressive in San Francisco or even Washington, D.C. It just doesn't work. Some jobs you deserve to get paid more because you have more knowledge, more experience.
That's true.
And an EMT has more experience than a burger flipper. The other bad thing about this negative consequence is I think we all got our first jobs working minimum wage. Did you,
Right,
Frank? Did you
I
get
did.
your first job working minimum wage? I think.
I was below the minimum wage when I got my first job, but yeah, essentially most of the jobs I had when I was a teenager started off the minimum wage,
Right.
but I had merit pay along the time of my employment, thankfully.
Yeah.
Right, they did do that.
And
Back
this
then.
is where young folks learn how to work.
Right.
You learn how to come to work on time, you learn how to take orders from a boss, and you learn skills, and you learn how to work with others. We started
Sure.
out that way, our son and daughter started out that way, and the effect of increased wage increases like this for the minimum wage is going to eliminate a chance for a lot of folks
True.
to get hired when you're young. Who's going to hire a young person
At 15
at 15 an hour? It's not going to
That's
happen.
outrageous.
It's not going to happen. Well, that's it for this segment of Canfield and Company, and we'll be back right over after this for another great topic. Up next, if you live in Troutdale, Oregon, you may have been subject to the Stark Street road closure. Why was there such a short notification? And now we're dealing with long hassles. Coming up right now. Hi, welcome back to Canfield and Company. I'm Rob Canfield, the host. Tana Canfield is the co-host today, and our director is still Frank Martin. He's the best director Metro East has ever had.
Woohoo!
Absolutely. Next topic today. If you're a Troutdale resident and you live anywhere near Stark Street and Troutdale Road, at this time you are suffering from a construction project brought along by Multnomah County to help fish swim underneath Stark Street there between Troutdale Road and 257th. Now, I have nothing against fish. I really don't.
I like to eat them.
I like fish. We'd like to eat them. And Beaver Creek is the creek they're talking about. I have absolutely no issues
I have no issue.
with their doing this project to help the salmon go further upstream. Who wouldn't want that?
I know.
However, what I have a problem with, and what folks in Troutdale who live in this area have a problem with, is the lack of notice from Multnomah County.
Definitely.
The businesses say they did not get
No one
notice
did.
at all, except at the last minute. Of course, the Multnomah County and Troutdale will say, well, we gave plenty of notice. You have to just go to our websites and go to the meetings.
Well, right.
Well, let's be honest. People don't really go to city websites or county websites to look at this stuff. So there should have been more outreach.
think
Another thing, one of the local residents pointed out is Multnomah County did not do any traffic studies
No,
to
none.
determine the impact of closing Stark Street from this point. Third, the day that they actually closed Troutdale Road, one of the bypasses or detours for folks was Corbeth Lane. It was only supposed to be used for bicyclists and pedestrians, Corbeth
Sure.
Lane. However, people being who they are, they have used Corbeth Lane as a shortcut, zooming through that neighborhood, endangering people living on that street. It's a nice, quiet street. Now, my question for Multnomah County is, you should have foreseen this, and why didn't you have some cop cars there stopping people from speeding through there the very first day you had that road closed? Frank Martin, you often visit the Corbett Children's Theater there at the Troutdale Marketplace. What was your first inkling that this might be an inconvenience for your drive?
As soon as I saw the sign where it said for a month they were going to close the road, and there's a lot of people who use the road to go to Corbett, where they live.
And it's
So now they're going to have to come down from the Corbett on the hill and down in through the gorge and take the freeway in. They can't come back the way they're used to.
and it's not a month. It's from the point that they started June 22nd. Is that right?
Right.
All the way through October. Now,
Yeah, that's crazy.
what happens though when they say, "Hey, we're going to close the road from this period of time to that period of time"? Will it extend? This is a concern I have. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to go into the fall, maybe even to early winter like this? Come
Yeah.
on, that's a long time.
And
And I know I'm not happy about it because I love 257th going up and down that hill.
yeah.
It goes right to where you need
Yeah.
to get to, Gresham.
And this is the crazy part about it. This is the really crazy part about it. The only thing they're doing now is creating a better fish
Ladder.
path, a fish path underneath Stark Street there, under that viaduct there. That's all they're doing now.
It's a fish ladder. Yeah.
Right. However, again, comma, in 2 or 3 years, they're going to go back and dig up the exactly the same street to widen Stark Street. Now, why they chose in their wisdom not to do everything all at once, they claim, oh, we don't have the money. We
Right.
have money now, we have to spend it this year. I think smart people, Frank, do you think that if a business person was doing this, they'd figure out a way to do the fish, ease the fish stream and widen the road at the same time?
It would make smart business sense that they do that. Because
I-
we're talking about the government here.
Yeah.
But I can also answer why you didn't have police presence there.
Why is that?
Because the city of Troutdale gave Monoma County sheriff's deputies police power. So now it's on the shoulders of Sheriff Mike Reese instead of anything to do with the Troutdale.
The county sheriff policing a county road. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
Multnomah County sheriffs police the entire city, and they should have known there would be problems with people speeding through this nice residential area, Corbett Lane, from the get-go.
And
Yeah.
you just now made me think. 4th of July is coming up. I want to go to the Corbett Fun Fest. So now I'm going to have to go down the gorge and
Yep.
back up to be able to go to the Fun Fest, or go around on Troutdale Road through the city of Troutdale and go up the bridge that way.
And how many
Right.
thousands of people who attend the Corbett Fun Fest don't read the Gresham Outlook, don't read the Oregonian, and will come into Troutdale expecting to go down Troutdale Road to Corbett, and they are going to get a big surprise there on 257th, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
And when the thousands of people choose to come home, let's hope they figure out, don't come back the same way, go down the hill and get on the freeway and stay the heck away from Troutdale, because you're not going to get where you need to go,
Yeah.
basically.
No, I think it was
Sad, sad, sad.
You're
It's-
gonna have to end up coming down the hill and getting on I-84. Really,
Right.
that would be the most expedient route. Even though you have to do all those switchbacks down the side
Yeah.
of the gorge.
That's really the best way to go, I think.
Yeah. I, for one, just think it's the wrong time of year. Kids are playing in the streets, and that's something I have a real concern about as well. Because I've seen cars, they don't go slow. They don't
No.
go slow in construction zones. So
No.
what would make them slow down for this? And what's proven already is they're going way too fast.
Yeah, and I have a small bone to pick with our new county commissioner, Lori Stegman. This has been in the news. People have been upset about it. Not one peep out of her or her office. I voted for you, Commissioner Stegman. I expected more from you to be on top of this and be responsive to your constituents out here. I voted for you. You can
Yeah.
do better than this. Well, that's it for this topic. We'll be back with another topic on Canfield Company right after this. You can contact Canfield Company at robert@robertcanfield.com. Hi, welcome back to Canfield Company. I'm your host, Rob Canfield. With me, my co-host, Tana Canfield, and our fabulous director, Frank Martin, in the control room. Frank, I noticed our mascot was rather well behaved today. Maybe you could let him out and play a couple of times. There we go. Nice monster. Well, that's about it. That's about it for our show today. I want to thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments about the show, or if you'd like to be on the show, shoot me an email at robert@robertcanfield.com. You can see previous shows at our website, robertcanfield.com. Also on YouTube, just search Canfield and Company. But most of the old shows are on robertcanfield.com. We also have a Facebook page, Canfield and Company. Go figure. So again, if you'd like to be on the show or have comments or questions on the show, robert@robertcanfield.com. See previous shows at robertcanfield.com. So again, on behalf of Frank Martin in the control room, Mike Canty, our technical director, and Tannen Canfield, our host today, I want to say thanks for watching, and you have a great Canfield and Company day.
Woohoo!